Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda. So I heard you all reading from C.C. Madhya 13, and I said, oh, I have a whole presentation from C.C. Madhya 13. Could I give that? And I did not expect a yes. So we're going to be exploring Ratha Yatra and Lord Jagannath. So this is from Madhya 13 and also a little bit from Krishna book 82. So Lord Jagannath leaves his throne and he gets up onto the car. And the very strongly built Daitas, who are as powerful as drunken elephants, they manually carried Lord Jagannath from the throne to the car. While carrying the deity of Lord Jagannath, some of the Daitas took hold of the shoulders of the Lord and some caught his lotus feet. Of course, it's very interesting that the Lord is holding all of us up, yes? The whole universe is like a little seed on his head, hardly noticeable. And yet, he lets us carry him. This is, of course, very mysterious. The Lord Jagannath deity was bound at the waist by a strong, thick rope made of silk. From two sides, the Daitas caught hold of this rope and raised the deity. Strong, puffed up cotton pads called tulis were spread out from the throne to the car, and the heavy deity of Lord Jagannath was carried from one pillow-like pad to the next by the Daitas. So he had a very soft journey, right? Go from one pillow to another pillow to another pillow to another pillow. King Prataparudra personally engaged in the Lord's service by cleansing the road with a broom that had a golden handle. The king sprinkled the road with sandalwood-scented water. So this particular part of the pastime may not mean that much to those of us who were brought up outside of India. But in India, you'd never find a king sweeping the road. I've even seen people throw rubbish next to a rubbish bin, and I'll say, why don't you put it in the bin? And they say, no, that's the sweepers. They will do that. Untouchables, they will do that. So this was very humble service, and of course we knew how much King Prataparudra wanted to see Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya was very pleased by this very humble service. So all of us should be willing to do some humble service for the Lord, yeah? Our general service to the Lord should be, of course, according to our nature, according to our propensities, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't also do some humble service. I one time heard one devotee say, I know I'm a Brahmana because I've never done any menial physical work. And I thought, no, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's how it works. Prabhupada says a real Brahmana makes a place cleaner than when they came to it. Right? Then we should always be willing to do some menial service for the Lord. For the pastimes of the Ratha Yatra ceremony, Lord Jagannath got aboard one car, and his sister Subhadra and elder brother Balaram got aboard two other cars. The fine white sand spread all over the path resembled the bank of the Yamuna. And the small gardens on both sides look just like those in Vrindavan. Sometimes the car would stand still and not move, even though it was pulled very vigorously. The chariot therefore moved by the will of the Lord, not by the strength of any ordinary person. That's true in our own life, isn't it? You all experience that? We try to get our life to go this way and that way, and it goes where it wants to go by the will of the Lord. Yes, everyone has experienced that? Sometimes it goes very fast, and sometimes it doesn't seem to go anywhere at all. Sometimes it goes in its own direction. And you're like, wait a minute. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wandered through all 7 groups, chanting the holy name, Hari Hari. Raising his arms, he shouted, "All glories to Lord Jagannath! All glories to Lord Jagannath!" There were 7 groups of singers and dancers, and the Lord simultaneously appeared in all of them, though not everyone could see him. So who could see that he was in all 7 groups? Maharaj Prataparudra. You can't always tell who's getting the mercy of the Lord, can you? He seemed like he wasn't getting the mercy of the Lord. It seemed like the Lord wasn't seeing him. It seemed like the Lord was rejecting him, but he could see what no one else could see. That is very quiet. So this Ratha Yatra festival is not just some ordinary parade, but it is a reciprocation where the Lord is coming back to Vrindavan. And so we're going to look in a little bit of depth about the conversation between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and, and Lord Jagannath. Now this, of course, is a little interesting because the Lord is talking to the Lord. Now, I don't know about all of you, but I sometimes talk to myself. Do you ever talk to yourself? Sometimes I have a whole conversation back and forth. And so the Lord has Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Mananta Rupam. He has unlimited forms. And sometimes in these different forms, he has conversations with himself. Like Krishna and Balaram sometimes have a conversation. They don't even always agree. Do you sometimes not agree with yourself? Yes. I think I really want to do that. No, that's a terrible idea. No, but it might be good. No, I don't really think it's a good idea. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he raised his face toward Jagannath and he prayed, Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanya Hitaya Cha Jagad Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. And he said a very interesting prayer. He said, now I have gained the Lord of my life, in the absence of whom I was feeling burned by Cupid and withering away. Prabhupada in his purport says, this song refers to Srimati Radharani's meeting with Krishna at the holy place of Kurukshetra, where Lord Krishna and his brother and sister came to visit when there was a solar eclipse. It is a song of separation from Krishna. So we know that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was generally in this mood of separation, and this form of Lord Jagannath is Krishna, Balaram, and Subhadra in a mood of separation from Vrindavan. Now, it's interesting, the devotees always want to see the Lord. We find that the gopis, they get upset even if they're blinking and they can't see the Lord. I don't even notice that I'm blinking. But they get upset that I can't see the Lord even for one eye blink. It's a symptom of love that you want to see the people you love, correct? Right? Like I come here regularly to LA because we have a son that lives in Irvine. I want to see him. I want to see him and his wife and his children because I love them. Does that make sense? Right? If you say, oh, I love you very much, but I never want to see you, then what kind of a love is that? So how is it that the Lord himself and all the devotees are also relishing this separation? I really like in Brihad Bhagavatamrita when Gopal Kumar, he experiences practically every kind of material happiness in the material world, in the coverings of the universe, in the Brahman, in the spiritual world. And finally he gets to Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan, and then Krishna goes to Mathura. And he says, well, we wait in Vrindavan away from him because being in Vrindavan in separation from Krishna is a happiness that dances on the heads of all other happiness. And the description is that when you see Krishna, there's Krishna. But when you're in separation from Krishna, it's like you're seeing Krishna everywhere. You're totally absorbed in Krishna. So the residents of Vrindavan were feeling this incredible separation from Krishna and Krishna from them. And then during the solar eclipse, they got to meet. So this whole Ratha Yatra is really a reenactment of this meeting of the residents of Vrindavan with Krishna during the eclipse and saying, can't you come home now? Can't you come home now? And Mahaprabhu prayed, that very personality who stole away my heart during my youth is now again my master. These are the same moonlit nights of the month of Chaitra. The same fragrance of malati flowers is there. And the same sweet breezes are blowing from the Kadamba forest. In our intimate relationship, I am also the same lover. Yet still my mind is not happy here. I am eager to go back to that place on the bank of the Reva under the Vetasi tree. That is my desire. Now, only Swarup Damodar understood what Mahaprabhu was singing because this was not a sloka. It was a love song. And people might have been thinking, why is this sannyasi singing love songs? Right? If one of our ISKCON sannyasis started singing love songs, we would become a little suspicious. Right? But he's in this mood. Come back to Vrindavan, come back to Vrindavan. Now we might also wonder, is this selfishness that the devotees want the Lord to come to Vrindavan? So Krishnadas Kaviraj very nicely describes this difference between love and lust. That love is like gold. You're trying to please the senses of your beloved, like we have one of the definitions of pure devotional service. Sarvapadi vinirmuktantar paratena nirmala rishikesha rishikena sevana bhakti uchite. I want my senses to be used to serve Krishna, the master of the senses. And lust is I want Krishna to serve my senses. Most people are worshiping the Lord in this world with lust. My dear Lord, please, give me this, give me this, give me that. Right? I once saw this young woman come and place an envelope on the altar at one of our temples, and I said, what's in the envelope? And she said, my exam grades, and I'm praying to Krishna that they be high grades, and I'm thinking, it's a little late now. But we're thinking like that, give me this, give me this. So it may look like that. Krishna, I want to bring you to Vrindavan. So that's where I'm living in Vrindavan. I don't feel comfortable going to Dwarka. So I want you to be where I am. But no, they're understanding that Krishna is going to be happiest in Vrindavan. Because that's where he can fully relax. You understand? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he is the abode. And we all know how we feel when we go to our home. We're like, I can just relax. I can be myself. I don't have to try to impress anybody. I just spent a few days with two of my adult granddaughters, and I kept telling them that. I said, I just feel completely at home with you, like I can just relax and be myself. I don't have to worry about anything. Before that, I was staying with a family in Auckland that I didn't know previous to my staying with them. And, you're always nervous in that kind of situation. Like, how is it going to be? Am I going to feel that I'm always being judged or something, like at every moment? Thankfully, they made me feel like one of the family. I said, can we eat together and pretend? I said, can you pretend that you're Americans and just eat with me and not stand over my plate to serve me? So, it's nice if people are showing us respect and, but it's a lot nicer when you can just relax. Correct? Yes? So Krishna also feels like that. It's not that he doesn't like the prayers and the worship, but then he's like, can I just be Nanda Maharaj's son? Can I just be the prince? Let Nanda Maharaj worry about taking care of the village. Not my problem. The prince just gets to enjoy. Can I just be with my cows as a village boy? So Krishna likes to be in Vrindavan. And therefore, Srimati Radharani, the residents of Vrindavan, when they're seeing Krishna with all this pomp and ceremony and royalty, they're saying, come to where you can be happy. Come to where you can relax. Come to where, Sridhama can tell you that he's stronger than you. And Lalita can tell you that Radharani's not going to see you today. Please come back to Vrindavan. So this was the mood of all the residents of Vrindavan when they saw Krishna at Kurukshetra. And Lord Chaitanya awoke with this ecstasy of the gopis. He said, I therefore request you to come to Vrindavan and enjoy pastimes with me. If you do so, my ambition will be fulfilled. Now, the devotees are presenting their request as if it's their ambition. So why is that? Because the Lord likes to fulfill the desires of the devotees. The devotees want to please Krishna, and Krishna wants to please the devotees. So if the devotees say to him, this will make us happy, then Krishna is more inclined. Yeah? Then Krishna says, yes, I would like to make you happy. Mahaprabhu said, it is amazing that you have forgotten the land of Vrindavan. And how is it that you've forgotten your father, mother, and friends? How have you forgotten Govardhan Hill, the bank of the Jamuna, and the forest where we enjoyed the Ras Leela? Again, they know that by reminding the Lord of these pastimes, they're bringing him so much happiness. Mahaprabhu continues, my dear Krishna, you are the life and soul of Vrindavan Dham. You are especially the life of Nanda Maharaj. You are the only opulence in the land of Vrindavan, and you are very merciful. Please come and let all the residents of Vrindavan live. Kindly keep your lotus feet again in Vrindavan. So Mahaprabhu is also presenting like this, everyone's going to die without you. When Krishna's in the coils of Kaliya and the residents of Vrindavan are fainting, so Lord Balaram calls out, my dear Lord, these are not the residents of Vaikuntha or the residents of Vayodhya, these are the residents of Vrindavan. They cannot tolerate that you're suffering like this. And they're all going to die. And then what will happen to your soft heart? So in the same way, Mahaprabhu is telling Lord Jagannath, the residents of Vrindavan, they're going to die without you. How are they going to go on? You have to come home. Then Lord Jagannath responds. He says, I cry day and night simply upon remembering you inhabitants of Vrindavan. No one knows how unhappy this makes me. Or we might say, how is it that the Lord is unhappy? He's Satchidananda, he's always blissful. But blissfulness isn't just insipid. It isn't just, I'm so blissful. Blissfulness has variety. Srila Rupa Goswami explains in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu so much variety of emotion. One of the 7 secondary rasas is the Karuna rasa, the rasa of compassion, of lamentation. And at one point, Srila Rupa Goswami says, a person may doubt whether or not this is happy. But he says, just like the Ramayana is full of Karuna rasa. But still, Hanuman is reciting this Ramayana all the time. We see even materially that people enjoy different types of rasas. People go to see sad movies, correct? They pay money to cry. People go to sporting events to become angry. That's why they go to political rallies as well. Right? They go on rides to become afraid. Again, paying money to go on a ride to become afraid. Because these are varieties of enjoyment. Of course, materially, even joy isn't enjoyable. Because it's just the senses and the mind. It's not the actual soul. But all these experiences exist in the Lord. Akila Rasamrita Murti. He's experiencing all varieties of tastes, including this compassion. Lord Jagannath continues, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan Dham, my mother, father, cowherd boyfriends, and everything else are like my life and soul. And among all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, the gopis are my very life and soul. And among the gopis, you, Srimati Radharani, are the chief. Therefore, you are the very life of my life. So he's saying, I'm not away from you because I'm hard-hearted. You know, we may think like that. Oh, I don't see Krishna, he must not love me. And Lord Jagannath is saying, no, I love all the residents of Vrindavan so much. He says, my dear Radharani, you are the most dear, and I know that in my absence you cannot live for a moment. Now this is really interesting. He says, just to keep you living, I worship Lord Narayana. By his merciful potency, I come to Vrindavan every day to enjoy pastimes with you. I then return to Dwarkadam. Thus you can always feel my presence there in Vrindavan. So what is it that the Lord is worshiping Narayana? Why is Krishna worshiping Narayana? Again, he's in this mood that I'm a cowherd boy. And all the residents of Vrindavan, they're Vaishnavas. So they worship Lord Narayana. So Krishna is also worshiping Narayana. This is so sweet. It's such a sweet thing. Like we see the Lord wears tilak. You ever wondered about that? Why does he wear tilak? He says, I wish to protect the inhabitants of Vrindavana from the attacks of my enemies. That is why I remain in my kingdom. Otherwise, I am indifferent to my royal position. Whatever wives, sons, and wealth I maintain in the kingdom are only for the satisfaction of the yadus. So he's saying, really, I'm here to take care of you. I have to be away from you to take care of you. But I'm just full of missing you and love for you. Lord Krishna said, devotional service unto me is the only way to attain me. My dear gopis, whatever love and affection you have already attained from me by good fortune is the only reason for my returning to you. Of course, remember how Krishna tells the gopis they should be satisfied with their love for him. It's such a deep thing. You know, we think, I want to be loved. It's nice to be loved. I appreciate being loved. But more satisfying than being loved is loving. I really don't think there's anything more satisfying than feeling love. And especially when you feel love for someone who may not be able to reciprocate. Like you're holding some little baby that doesn't even really understand that you're another living being. And you're just holding this little sleeping baby on your chest and you're just rocking your little baby. It's such a satisfying feeling to love. I just don't think there's anything more pleasurable than feeling that love. And if we can feel that much pleasure feeling love for a baby, or people feel that much love, I don't know, for their cats or something, their dogs. They're just a little jiva. How satisfying to feel that love for Krishna. When we feel that love for Krishna, then it's constantly overflowing love. And of course it is reciprocated in his love for us. That's what we really want. This morning I was hearing Prabhupada saying that the whole purpose of life is to develop this love for God. He said, whatever religion you can do, if you know it's a real religion, savai pumsam paro dharmo, if it actually gives you love of God, yadyatma suprasidati, that's what will make us happy. And we already have that love. It's just a question of being in a process that wakes it up, that shakes it up, that goes, hey, you're a soul, you already love God. So as this conversation is going on between Lord Jagannath and Lord Chaitanya, they reach the place called Balagandi. And here Lord Jagannath stopped his car. So you ever go on a long road trip and you always have to stop to eat, right? So Lord Jagannath is also going to stop to eat. It was customary that food be offered to the Lord at that place. Indeed, innumerable dishes of food were offered, and Lord Jagannath tasted each one of them. All kinds of devotees of Lord Jagannath, from neophytes to the most advanced, offered their best cooked food to the Lord. The devotees offered their food everywhere. In front of the cart, behind it, two sides, in the flower garden. Whenever possible, they made their offering to the Lord, for there were no hard and fast rules. So there were just plates of food everywhere. So now we're going to turn to the Bhagavatam. This is the 10th canto, chapter 82. This is from Krishna book. And this is the instructions that the Lord gives the gopis at Kurukshetra, which parallels the instructions that Lord Jagannath is giving to Lord Chaitanya. And these are very important instructions. Srila Prabhupada writes that this important instruction by Krishna to the gopis can be utilized by all devotees engaged in Krishna consciousness, which is all of us, yes? All right, we ready? So the gopis are coming there to Kurukshetra. They want to bring him back. They're feeling separation. And what does the Lord say? He says, everything is but a different manifestation of my energy. And because the energy is not separate from me, it is to be concluded that I am existing in everything. The light of the sun, the light of the moon, the heat of fire, flower-bearing spring, our ability, the purifying wind, all the tastes that come from the earth. Now this instruction that the Lord gives in 1082:45, we see a parallel to the Chatur Shloki of the Bhagavatam that was given by the Lord to Brahma, the essence of the Bhagavatam. So here we're going to compare verse 2935, which is the third verse of the Chatur Shloki. O Brahma, please know that the universal elements enter into the cosmos and at the same time do not enter into the cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created, and at the same time I am outside of everything. This is the third of the four essential verses of the Bhagavatam. Our core siddhanta, our universal eternal truths that transcends all context. Now listen to the instruction that the Lord gives to the gopis at Kurukshetra. Dear ladies, I am the beginning and the end of all created beings and exist both within and without them. Just as the elements ether, water, earth, air, and fire are the beginning and end of all material objects and exist both within and without them. Is this basically saying the same thing? Yeah? What do you think? Krishna is within everything and outside of everything. Now, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a very interesting commentary on this verse of the Chatur Shloki. He says that the Lord is detached from everything in the material world, but very attached to the devotees. That he pervades the material world, but with his devotees, he exists outside of them in order to reciprocate pastimes with them. Now here we find another interesting parallel This is the instructions that Krishna gave through Uddhava to the gopis in 10:47:29. And then again, the instruction he's giving directly to them at Kurukshetra. Let's look at 10:47:29. The Supreme Lord said, "You are never actually separated from me, for I am the soul of all creation. Just as the elements of nature, ether, air, fire, water, and earth, are present in every created thing, so I am present within everyone's mind, life air, and senses, and also within the physical elements and the modes of material nature." And then what does he tell them directly? "Dear ladies, I am the beginning and end of all created beings and exist both within and without them. Just as the elements ether, water, earth, air, and fire are the beginning and end of all material objects and exist both within and without them." So I want to read a little bit from Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's purport on 2935. He says, "The entrance of the elements into the living beings is without attachment, since the elements are not conscious. Like the ether, although I am conscious, like a man who lives in his house without attachment, I remain without attachment while entering, regulating, and protecting all beings. My pastimes are without attachment in relation to the elements and the living beings within the material world. But I desire to show myself to my obedient devotees who have entered my heart, who have perfected themselves and bowed to me, remaining separate, not entering their hearts. I desire to offer my beauty to their eyes. I desire that my fragrance enters their nostrils, and desire to fill their ears with the nectar of my sweet voice, speaking with them and answering them. I desire to make their limbs experience the sweet softness of my body by touching and embracing them. Thus situated inside my devotees and externally as well, I perform pastimes with great attachment for my pure devotees beyond the gunas whom I cannot give up." Now this concept of the Lord showing the beauty of all of his limbs, the beauty of his form, his fragrance, his sound, his touch, is also explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Madhurya Kadambini as a symptom of prema. And as the devotee experiences the Lord in each of these ways, the devotee keeps fainting in ecstasy. Actually, the Lord wants to be with the devotees and have the devotees enjoy him personally through love. The materialists want to enjoy the Lord's energy separate from him. And the devotees, they want their enjoyment to be with the Lord personally in love. Srila Prabhupada goes on to say, "The living entity is imprisoned in the material condition on account of his false conception of himself as the supreme enjoyer. This false ego of the living entity is the cause of his imprisonment in material existence." And then Prabhupada goes on, what Krishna is saying, "Accept everything with a philosophical attitude, then you will understand that you are always with me." So this should be our Krishna consciousness. Simultaneously feeling separation from Krishna and feeling that Krishna is always with us. He's with us in the light of the sun, in the taste of water. He's with us in our heart. He's with us. He said, "I am the life of all that lives," our very life, our consciousness. Then Prabhupada ends with, "The gopis, having been instructed by Krishna in this philosophy of simultaneous oneness and difference, remained always in Krishna consciousness and thus became liberated from all material contamination. Anyone who follows these instructions of Krishna is immediately freed from the jiva kosha imprisonment. A person in full Krishna consciousness is always liberated from false egoism. He utilizes everything for Krishna's service and is not at any time separated from Krishna." Okay, so I want to play a little bit of a lecture Prabhupada gave at Ratha Yatra. Do you have the volume up?
coming down in 9,000 years, when God is now, along with his elder brother Balaram, and Lord and teacher, Urmila, all together in a chariot came from Dwarka to Kurukshetra. Kurukshetra is the exit, and in Dwarka it is also in exit. So, according to Devi culture, where there is victory, woman, it is victory, especially they go to Kurukshetra and they put to death. So, around these married members, brother and sister, they do Kurukshetra and receiving this news, they proceed and the inhabitants of the tower were not to stop. This entire home, this came to this place. So, they have to go big, because the Anarati was to be, and when this awesome sun, and good breakfast, and all popular, idea is now, you are also here, I am also here, but here it is now. So I wish that the power is now is made, the image is now, and we acknowledge the importance of the now. This feeling of liberation was reached by Lord Chaitanya. So, this Ramada festival is beautiful girl in Varanasi, India. And I find it very cool. Chaitanya participated in this festival. And it was the form of separation, happiness, Radha was getting back to the Lord of the Town. So, the Jagannath festival is a key festival for the Buddhism. Lord Chaitanya taught us how to see the origin of God. Lord Chaitanya never taught us that he has seen God, but he sent to the origin of God. Very clear. Similarly, we next disciples is our knowledge. We also constituted that devotional service by separation of today. These are very celebrated today. These are not so much. We go over the Bhagavad Gita, we go over the somehow we develop things in this way, we really want to do it. One day people cannot know what to do, we do life. So, the Jagannath Festival is very nice, healing festival for the God. And anyone who is participating in the festival, we gradually develop these government love of peace. Thank you very much.
So I thought you would all like that. Prabhupada twice saying this is a feeling festival. It's a feeling festival. We are not interested in just some sort of ritual, right? But we should actually be a feeling. I'm bringing Krishna back to Vrindavan. Come Krishna, come back to Vrindavan. So any questions, comments, discussions, corrections? Yes, Prabhu.
At what point when Lord Krishna met And he was telling among everyone, I love the gopis, but you, Srimati Radharani, you are the love of my life.
Yes.
So sometimes in the material conception, we think, well, if you love him, why don't you go with her now? But it appears that he didn't. He still has some other duties. You know, like the Lord has some other duties.
Yes.
It appears that it contradicts the point of, well, when you love someone, why don't you just go? But no, you have other things to do. Can you talk?
Well, yes, because again, it's that this separation is so relishable. But remember, Lord Jagannath said that by the grace of Lord Narayan, I'm actually coming every day to see you.
Yes.
And we know that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. So in one sense, he's always there, and in another sense, he's coming and going. That is the. It's interesting, Srila Rupa Goswami, for each of the rasas, when in the Western Ocean, where he describes each of the primary rasas, for each of them he describes meeting and separation. For each of the rasas, even for Shantaras, there's hidden and visible. So this is increasing the love. It's increasing the ecstasy. It's increasing the relationship, because we want that as well. We want a love that always increases. Correct? When people get married, their hope is that when we're 80, we're going to love each other more than on our wedding day. That's the hope. Correct? Right? People love, seeing some old couple dancing together, looking in each other's eyes with love, and people thinking, yes, that's what I want. So that this love is increasing through this meeting and separation. It's like that. But he does go with her, don't worry. Don't worry. Krishna's with Radharani. There you go, right on the altar, in your heart, in the Hare Krishna mantra. So don't worry. He doesn't leave her in separation forever. Yes?
Thank you for a wonderful presentation and class. It seems so funny what you said about how we really enjoy loving more than anything else. We actually feeling the emotion of love. But the problem is that we're always hankering to be loved. So I was wondering if you could say something about that. It's like a duality.
Why are we always hankering to be loved? Because we're not in touch with the love that's already in us. These statements, like the last verses of Shikshashtaka, I love you no matter what you do, whether you reciprocate with me or not. When we're in touch with Krishna, when we realize our connection with Krishna, we are filled with this ever-flowing, unlimited love for him. That it not only does it fill us, like David said, my cup runneth over. Not only does it fill us, but it overflows. And reciprocation is irrelevant. It's just irrelevant. Actually, at that point, one doesn't need reciprocation from anyone or anything. That Krishna says, I think it's in the 5th chapter, that one who's realized they have no need to depend on any other living being. Real unconditional love means I'm so full of love that I don't need reciprocation. The way I think about it, it's like if you have a spring of water that's coming out of the ground and it just keeps flowing. And I think of it like that, like if our hearts a kind of basin, and then there's this spring of love that's just filling us completely and overflowing. And then we love all living entities without even caring that this is a nasty, envious person who wants to hurt me. We still love them. We may not invite them into our living room for, dinner. But we feel this love for all living entities. We don't need any other reciprocation. It's just not necessary. The devotees want to be with Krishna to express their love for him, not so he can love them. And this is the great mystery. This sense of I need to get something comes from an illusion of separation from Krishna. It comes from an illusion that I'm disconnected. And when I have this illusion of being disconnected, then in my smallness, I feel incomplete. And I feel that I need to complete myself with so many things. I need to complete myself with objects. I need to complete myself with financial security, with buildings, with food, with relationships, with so many things. But we find that no matter how much of those things that we get, we still don't feel complete. So we want to be in touch. Prahlad Maharaj, he says that we're naturally happy, but as soon as we go to look for happiness, then our misery begins. Because as soon as we're looking for happiness outside ourselves, that's predicated on the concept that I'm incomplete, that I need something outside myself. Of course, the devotees always feel that Krishna loves them. It's not that they don't feel that, because that infinite love they feel for him is due to their connection with him. But they're not needing any particular type of reciprocation at all. It's practically inconceivable for a conditioned soul. It's just practically, like, we can't even imagine it. But we can have some idea. I think we have some idea, any of you who've ever held a sleepy or happy baby on your chest and you're just rocking, you have some idea the baby's not loving you. The baby doesn't even know that you exist, really. And yet it's this deep satisfaction, correct? It's kind of amazing. So we all have experienced this with somebody, it's something in our life. Even if it was just a moment where we were satisfied by loving. Of course, because we're not loving Krishna, we're loving a part of him separate from him. It's not fully satisfying and it doesn't last and so forth and so on. But we can get some little idea that that's the only thing that's going to satisfy us. Yadyatma supersediti, that's all that will satisfy us. And then we won't care. I was meditating on this song, Bhakti Vinod, which I've sung so many times, but I don't know, I was just meditating, Kita Janma Hoy Yata Tu Adas. I'm willing to be a worm if the worm's a devotee. And I'm thinking, how is the worm a devotee exactly here? Like, how could I be a devotee worm? Not quite sure how that would work. What service can a little worm do for Krishna? But he's actually feeling like that. If I can do some service for you, even if I'm a worm, I'm happy. I was just really thinking about this. I was talking with my oldest son the other day about some service. And he was saying, is it really going to make a difference if you do this or not? Is it really going to change anything in the world? And I said, I don't know. I don't know if any of us really make that much of a difference. But even if we do some small, so I was meditating on worm service, to do some small service. But the devotees are thinking like that. If I'm Brahma, if I'm a worm, as long as I can love you, I don't really care. So what an amazing thing that must be. What an elixir that must be. I like where Bali Maharaj said to Vamandev, he says this in arrogance, he says, you should ask me for something so great that you'll never have to ask anybody for anything else ever. And Vamdev's like, I don't think you can say that. But that is what it is. The thing that is so great that we'll never care about anything else is if we're filled with that love. So that's this Ratha Yatra festival, this feeling festival, as Prabhupada says. So thank you very, very much. Anybody else, or we should end here? Yeah? Yes, Prabhu.
I just received a message that Ambrish Prabhu had a heart attack.
Oh no, Krishna.
And he's in critical condition on a respirator.
Oh my God.
So I was thinking maybe we could all sit here and just chant to Lord Nrsingadev on his behalf for his
Yes.
protection.
Hare Krishna.
This whole song? All together at the same time? Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladadayine. Hiranjakasipu Vaksaha. Sila Tankana Kalaye. Ito Nisingha Parato Nisingha. Yato Yato Yamitato Nisingha. Bahir Nisingho Hridaye Nisingho. Narasingha Nadim Saranam Prapadye. Tavakara Kamala Vare Nakam Adbhuta Sringam Dalita Eranjakasipum Tanuvringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Nisinghade, 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 Jaya Nisinghade. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jai Prahlad Maharaj. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Haribo. Haribo, Gora Haribo. Nrsingadev Bhagavan ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.